They were more than just machines. They were thunder on rails, breathing steam, bellowing smoke, and carrying the weight of nations on their iron backs. Vintage trains, massive, majestic, and unstoppable, built the very foundations of the modern world. Before the digital age, before planes ruled the skies and highways stretched for miles, there were tracks, laid down by hand, mile by mile, and upon those tracks ran beasts of fire and steel, symbols of progress, power, and perseverance. These weren't just trains, they were lifelines, carrying people, ideas, coal, mail, timber, dreams. Imagine the early 1900s, a time when the whistle of a train meant opportunity. Towns came alive with the sound of steel wheels against the tracks. A distant rumble meant connection. In an era without smartphones, without internet, without highways, trains were the network. They stitched cities together, carried immigrants to new lives, soldiers to battlefields, and children to schoolyards. The steam locomotive was a work of art and engineering. Massive boilers pressurized with fire, pistons pounding rhythmically like a giant heart. Every movement was mechanical poetry, a dance of gears, rods, and steam. Names like the Flying Scotsman, the Union Pacific Big Boy, and the Mallard became legends, not just for their speed or power, but for what they represented. Hope, speed, progress, unity. The inside of a vintage train tells its own story. Wooden seats worn smooth by decades of travelers, brass fixtures polished by countless hands. Dining cars where families ate together as scenery slipped by. Sleeper cars where strangers became friends overnight. Every bolt, every rivet, every clang and hiss of steam carried with it the soul of an era that refused to stand still. It wasn't just about transportation, it was about transformation. Railroads connected industries, factories were built beside the tracks. Farmers could send their produce to cities hundreds of miles away. Art, music, newspapers, ideas moved at a speed the world had never seen. The train didn't just take people places. It pulled history forward. But with every great rise, there comes a change. Diesel engines replaced steam. Planes began to shrink the world. The romance of rail gave way to the rush of air travel and the convenience of the car. Many of the old iron giants were retired, abandoned, scrapped. Their fires went out, their whistles went silent, and yet some remain. Across the world, vintage trains are being restored, not just as museum pieces, but as living, breathing time machines. When you step aboard one, you don't just ride a train, you ride a memory, a legacy, a reminder of what it meant to build, to strive, to connect. Because these trains, these old, chugging, roaring beasts, aren't just relics of the past. They are monuments to determination, to engineering, to humanity's relentless push forward. And in their rhythm, in their echo, we are reminded of one timeless truth. The journey is just as important as the destination. So the next time you see one, whether it's in motion or sitting quietly behind a fence, listen closely. You just might hear the heartbeat of a century gone by. Still ticking, still proud, still alive.